Tuesday, Flosstube. Hello, crafty friends. It is Tuesday. It's Tuesday, April 14th. I had to double check that it was Tuesday. It is. Yesterday, after I put the video up, I had left my phone in the car for a while after I got back from taking Luna to the vet. I had forgotten to bring my car back in. It was still in the stand in the car. And then I went looking for it later and realized there was a missed call from Nicholas's bassoon teacher because we missed his lesson. I have no excuse, and I was very, very embarrassed, and I had to apologize up and down, and he was so nice, and it was a little embarrassing. However, we have rescheduled for Wednesday at 5 o'clock. That was his offer. I said, look, you know, we missed it. It's our fault we missed it. I certainly didn't expect him to make it up. But he said, we're at home anyways. I have time. So he very kindly offered to make up Nicholas's lesson tomorrow. So Wednesday at 5 o'clock. So I have to keep track of the days. We can't miss it again a second time. So, oh, how embarrassing. Okay. I have a lot of stitching to share with you guys today. I had a really nice night last night. What did we watch? We watched quite a bit of I Love Lucy. And, oh, there was this funny episode. It was, I just spent 10 minutes trying to retell you an I Love Lucy episode. And I'm laughing at myself because I did such a terrible job that you would have been completely confused by what I just tried to tell you, and it wouldn't have made any sense at all. Needless to say, we really enjoyed our time together as a family last night. It was a lot of fun. And we did indeed have our leftovers for dinner. No one wanted meatloaf last night. Everybody wanted the turkey dinner leftovers, so they might be getting meatloaf tonight, whether or not they like it or not. They like the meatloaf. It's just, I think that the turkey dinner is everybody's favorite, so that's what they went for first. Okay, so while we were watching I Love Lucy, I worked on my Frosty Forest. Now, I'm thinking I left the pattern, there it is. Cover sheet, cover photo of the pattern. I am working on the Snowy Foxes chart of the Frosty Forest. This will be the 6th of 9 charts. And I promise tomorrow's video, I'm going to take these things off the scroll rods and show you the whole thing. And there's where I got to last night. So I have completely finished the snow pile in the bottom. It's completely done. I finished all of the rocks that were there, and I started the little foxes that are over here. And tonight, I would really like to stitch one of the giant trees. See that tree there? That's the one. I'd like to stitch that tree tonight. It's like Michelle Bendy's videos when she asks you what to say for the giveaway and you say, I'd like to stitch the trees. I would like to stitch the tree tonight. That's what I want to do. So I'm really enjoying it. And when you actually sit down and work on it, it's so small compared to the other gigantic things that I normally stitch that surely I should not put this away until it's finished, right? Right. That's the plan. I am stitching this on the called for fabric, which I believe is a 30 count pearl gray linen, and all of the called for DMCs and the way that the patterns are charted, it's mostly DMC, but each pattern has 1 or 2 overdyed cotton flosses. And at the time, I kitted this up with, not with a DMC, but each pattern I bought the 1 or 2 skeins of overdyed floss and I tucked it into the envelope of the chart. And that reminds me, so actually, no, I fibbed. Was this the called for or not? Because it must be. at the time, I also bought the buttons. I'm not really a button stitcher. And so I don't think I'm actually going to put the buttons on. Not because I don't like the buttons. I think the buttons are super cute. But I see this as being a pillow or something, and I don't know that I want buttons, you know, that will be knocked, and I don't know. I'm just not convinced about putting the buttons on. So if somebody is also stitching Frosty Forest and you're looking for the buttons, I don't know. I might be convinced to part with them, but I haven't decided yet. I might have to think about that a little bit more. And I think I'm missing one of the buttons. I'll have to double check. I might have all but one. So, Frosty Forest. And this is a Country Cottage Needleworks design. So there you go. And this is a Kay's Creations lap frame and stretcher bars. This is the tent. It's, I don't know that they make these anymore. Maybe they do, but these were one of the original tension rods that you could get with it. And I've said it before, but I found them at a garage sale, an estate sale that a friend of mine was having. And I scored a whole bunch of stuff for $10. It was a really good deal. Okay. I also, remember I said I was going to share my friendship, I always get the name wrong. Quaker Seasons of Friendship. This is by Crown and Thistle, which is the in-house design studio from the Dying to Stitch local needlework shop in Virginia Beach. And it's this bit of gorgeousness here. And this was a chart that was gifted to me by my friend Letitia, the Crafty curator, who, as of a couple hours ago, I noticed on Facebook that she has posted an update Flosstube video. So you know that I will be visiting with her later this afternoon. So Letitia bought this pattern for herself, and I think she was stitching it, and she messaged me and she said, I have this pattern and I think you have to have this pattern too, so I bought it for you and it's on its way to you. So she mailed it to me, and I purchased the fabric from XJU Designs because Letitia had given me the stitch count for it. So I went ahead and I ordered the fabric, and on my high tea start 2 Wednesdays ago, I decided to break up my Silks for You raspberry silk, and I believe the color is 014, I think. And this is half of it on my thread drop, my thread keep here, and I just, this color, look at the color. Oh, that color, it's my favorite color. Oh, sorry, my phone rang. Where was I? I was telling you about my floss. This is, I think it's 047, but the color of it is just absolutely, it's luscious. It's just luscious. And so I have been saving this thread for at least 2 years. And so I thought for my high tea start, it was about time that I started to use it. If you've ever wondered about how to deal with a Silks for You hank, I actually talked about how I managed it in the day after. So I talked about how I was going to do it in the high tea video, but then actually the next day, the Thursday, from trial and error, I showed you what I actually ended up doing. And if you look, the screen cap on it very specifically has the floss laying down flat. It's just a picture of the floss, and I'm kind of peeling it like string cheese. So in case you're curious as to how to manage one of those beautiful, huge hanks of silk from Silks for You. So this was the thread that I decided to use, and I'm still in my hoop here. So here's the little bit in the corner that I've done so far. And as you can see, I finished the little crab, and I stitched the little bird and the little heart as well. It's really hard for me to see what you're seeing, so I'm just gonna do my best. And the light, because it's sunny and cloudy, the light keeps changing. So what you can see and how the coloring of it is anyone's best guess. So the reason this tickles me so much, the little heart and the little crab, is, and why I had to stitch them first, is because Letitia and I became fast friends very quickly and discovered very quickly also that the two of us share so many things in common. Our birthdays are 2 weeks apart. We're the same age. We both have daughters who are within a couple of months of age. Her daughter has just turned 19 and my daughter is turning 19 in about a month. And we share many of the same pet peeves. So we make each other laugh when we want to maybe complain a little bit about, I don't know, whistling or grape chewing or something like that, that the other person will understand. But the crab is our, that's our symbol. That's our you know what I mean. Some people are Taurus, some people are Pisces. We're crabs, we're Cancer. And so the little crab right next to the little heart, and Letitia gave me this pattern, it made my heart a little bit full and happy. So it is definitely a friendship sampler. I love it. Love it. So I would like to try and finish some more of the, oh, I should mention actually, everything that I have stitched here, all of that stitching was done with 1/2 of a loop of the Silk 3U. So let me pull one out and I'll show you. So these are, also that's the other thing, using these thread drops, if you just, so I've got one loose actually hanging here, but you can just take one of the lengths, and if you just pull gently, then your length of thread comes out and the rest of your floss can stay neat and tidy in your thread keep. So one of these lengths of 6 strands did all of that stitching. I only just completed the last strand. This is a 40 count fabric, and the colorway is Rocky Mountain, and I'm using 1 strand over 2. And that little crab is adorable. I love it. Then this morning, with my coffee crafting this morning, was I couldn't resist picking up Alice again. This is the pattern by Michelle Bendy Designs. I'm gonna leave a link. I'll leave a link in the drop down box below to Michelle's shop, because I believe you can now buy this as a PDF on her shop. I'll double check that. If not, if it's still only in LNS's, then I'll put that information below, because this was the chart that came with the Alice collection collaboration that we did together back in February. And isn't she so cute? So cute. So I finished the lavender, what am I pointing at here? I finished the lavender around the outside of the apron, and I gave her some arms this morning. And she's just taking shape. So there, hopefully that's focused. Let's see, is that focused? Yeah. She's so cute. So she needs some eyebrows, and then her body is done, and then I just need to do the fill-in of her circle. There are some Smyrna crosses in that fill-in, which are fun to do. I like those. And this is the called for fabric, which is an 18 count River Rock. I'm gonna look that up. It's right here. So instead of just guessing, yes, it's an 18 count Aida in River Rock from Color and Cotton. That's the fabric, and it's beautiful. It's a really, really lovely Aida, and the dyeing, the color is just, I think it's just beautiful. And I'm using 2 strands of floss. Most of the called for colors, I did get a little creative with some of them. I had some floss that was similar but all DMC. I had a few colors that were very similar, so it's not really worth me telling you what the subs are. Her hair, what did I sub it out for? I didn't even write it down. That's terrible. I didn't even write it down. I had some color that looked like the color of her hair, and so I just stitched it in. It's so pretty. So delicate and pretty. I love it. My little frog needle minder from Amy Baru. I talked about her the other day, and it is Amy, A-I-M-E-E, B-A-R-O-U-C-H. That'll get you close. If it's not O-U-C-H, I'm used to putting O-U in everything because I'm Canadian. And neighborhood and color, everything has an O-U. So I'm not sure Baruch is O-U-C-H. It might be at the end. But her Instagram feed, I mentioned it last week. She finished Michelle's design and she FFO'd it into this absolutely stunning project. I mean, it's a book cover with an empty book, like it's empty inside, and she tucked a little scissor fob on the inside on a little pillow, and everything is just perfect. Her finishing is second to none. It's absolutely beautiful and inspiring as well. So, and this was a needle minder that I bought from her in New Jersey last year at the Flosstube retreat. It was a pack of 6, but the little frog man, he's tipping his hat. Can you see him? I hope you can see him because he's adorable. He's got a little hat on, and he's tipping his cap. It's really cute. What is always so funny to me is that most of you know I have a project bag business that's temporarily shut down at the moment, but I always for myself keep the leftovers, the seconds, as it were. So my combination of stuff that I use to keep my projects in, I have a Christmas notions pouch. I have this was the very first grime guard that I ever made, and then I have a Spools small tote, and so nothing matches. Everything is kind of higgledy-piggledy, but you know, if I'm not gonna send it out, but it's still perfectly serviceable, I'm going to use it. And the other, and I've mentioned this before, but it brings me happiness when I look at it. I had a very, very, very good friend. Her name was Audrey, and she was one of those people that you'll never ever forget your entire life. And it was unfortunate that I met Audrey so much later into her life, because I would have liked to have had more time with her. It still never would have been enough. And after Audrey passed away, her closest friend Virtuti, Audrey had always said, make sure that you take care of my stuff, my stash, and make sure that it goes to a good home. And our friend Virtuti made sure that the things were taken care of. And I have a few things that I've held aside for some friends of hers who haven't managed to have a memento from Audrey. So Robin and Sarah, if you're watching this, I have a few things that I've kept tucked away safe for you as well. And the color of Alice's face and her arms is a skein, just a DMC bobbin of 948. That was Audrey's. And whatever project that she was stitching that used it, that was the symbol for it. And that's her handwriting on there. And so that's tucked into my project bag along with the other flosses. So there you go. That's what I worked on last night. And here's what I can't get out of my head that I really, really, really want to put a few stitches in. Anybody remember this from a few years ago? The giant carrot. So this is Brenda Gervais' Autumn's Fruitful Labor. When the year from fruitful labor turns to rest, founts of warmth and comfort in my being flow. And I have not worked on this since the cottage 2 years ago. So it's kind of the same situation with my Frederica. I worked on this the same summer and I haven't put any stitches into it. So I did some work on Frederica, and now it's time to put some stitches into here because that's all I have done. So I have the word comfort done and I've got one little birdie. So I would really love to finish this bottom border down in here. And I mean, honestly, who doesn't want to stitch a giant carrot? That just looks like fun. Woo. So I have all of my flosses set aside. And this is definitely a 40 count. I have no idea what the fabric is. None. Mystery linen. But it's definitely a 40 count. And I suspect that I bought, look, I even have the thread still hanging off from the diamonds down here. And it's just delicate and beautiful and so pretty. Now, speaking of the Canadian OU, that brings me to the word labor in Brenda's pattern is spelled, of course, because Brenda is American. It's spelled the American way. But I think that there's plenty of room here. There's, can you see it? Can you hear the cardinal? I love that sound. He's being a noisy bird today. They're building a nest very close to my my sewing table. I'm not sure they've picked their final spot, but I've been seeing the female carrying nesting material in her beak. And so I'm gonna have to keep a careful watch on where they decide to nest. Okay, back to my labor point here. There's plenty of space in between the word turns and to. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move that over so that I can make enough space to add in a U into the word labor. It's such a sweet design. And frankly, after I remember Miss Bingley's library, I know it was only yesterday that I showed you, but you know, I like to show this stuff off. I really enjoyed stitching the letters much more than I thought. And so I thought, you know, surely you could at least attempt to get a fair bit of those letters and words complete. If I just finish that bottom border, then I'd have, you know, it would feel a little bit more substantial. So that's the plan. That's the plan. So that's my crafty chat for today. Next up, before I say goodbye for today, is book chat. So we have a Facebook group, Cross Stitchers Who Like to Read. There is a link in the drop-down box below. And the book that we are currently reading is Margaret Atwood, Alias Grace. There's going to be a chat this Saturday at noon. All of the information is on the Facebook group. Now here's where I need your help. That's where I am in the book. Remember I showed you this last week? I'm maybe 6 or 7 chapters further. Terrible. I'm the one that started this book club and I'm not even halfway through the book yet. That's embarrassing. But I'm being honest here and being accountable because I need to finish this book before Saturday morning. So, to keep myself accountable, I am going to be showing you this bookmark every day from now until Saturday, and I need you to encourage me to make sure that this bookmark keeps moving its way through the book. And I'm loving the book. It's really, I mean, I'm really, really enjoying the book. It's just time. I don't have enough time to do all the things I want to do. I think, you know, you think, well, my shop is shut down. Where's all the extra time gone? Well, I had to take the dog to the vet and all of that, and people still expect to be fed, and people are home, and oh, I don't know, life is going on at the moment, and everything is a little bit topsy-turvy. So, but I need to take some more time to fit this in, because I think for me it's important. So that's where I'm at. Let's see if I can get it to the middle of the book by tomorrow, which is Wednesday. We have chosen, I guess this is the first time I'm actually announcing this, but we've chosen the next book for the next discussion in our little cross-stitching book club. And I had put up 2 choices a few days ago for people to, I put up a poll and I said, which one would you prefer to read? And both books look great, but pretty clear, the clear favorite to choose for the next book is by Brunonia Berry, and it's The Lace Reader. So this is going to be our next book. So I would suspect that it will probably be, discussion on this book will happen in a month. So this Saturday will be the discussion on Alias Grace, and then a month from that Saturday, I suspect we'll have a discussion on this book. Now, I think a month is generous for fast readers, and probably just enough, or it'll be a squeeze for those of you who are like me, who, I'm going to be honest with you, getting back into reading physical books, I think that is part of the challenge for me, because I am so used to audiobooks now that I'm struggling a little bit with focus and concentration reading, just having reading be the activity. Because, does that make sense? Because I am so used to now sewing while I listen to an audiobook, stitching or knitting while I listen to an audiobook, doing the dishes while I listen to an audiobook, and having someone tell me a story, whereas actually having to put in the work of just reading the story and not doing something else at the same time. There's a little part of my brain that's like, what else are you supposed to be doing at the same time? And I'm really having to struggle a little bit against that. And I think it's an important, reading it's a pleasure, but it's also something that I think you can get out of practice with doing. And I miss it. I used to be my mother will attest to this, I used to be a voracious reader. When I should have been doing my homework, there was usually a novel tucked into my top right desk drawer, and when no one was paying attention, I would be reading my novel instead of doing my homework. And I miss that. I miss getting lost into a story. And so I think having this, group discussion where we all talk about the same book, but not being in charge of the discussion, but being prepared, and having read the book, since I'm the one that started the group, the onus is on me to finish reading the book. And I think that's going to be, I want to rekindle that feeling of reading the physical book over and above the audiobook. I'm never not going to love audiobooks, because I just love them. But physically, opening your mind to reading a book and not doing anything else at the same time, I think that's going to take a little bit of practice, and I look forward to getting back there. So anyways, little rambling thoughts on a Tuesday afternoon. Anyways, I better go and finish cleaning up the kitchen, because I only did half of the dishes this morning. I know, I left the other half. Can you imagine me getting distracted? Never. So I have to still go and finish cleaning up the other half of the kitchen, and then I should probably run the dust mop around the floors. Being that Luna is mostly white, even though she has short little hair, she actually sheds quite a bit. And so I have a little glove with short little rubber bristles that I take her outside and I will, rub her down, and I get rid of quite a lot of hair there, but it's still white fur. So I should run the dust mop around the house and tidy up a little bit. Okay, so that is it. I don't think there's anything else I forgot to tell you today. Tomorrow I will unroll Savon and Frosty Forest and show you the whole thing. I might try to put a few stitches in Savon tonight as well. So I actually haven't touched that since last week, and for me that's quite unusual. But I have so many things I want to stitch, but I have to read too. How are we ever bored? So that's it for me today. I will see you tomorrow. Stay healthy, take care of yourself, and happy stitching. Take care. I'll see you tomorrow.